viewers, you're watching 6 Stories at 6. It's the Tuesday edition of the show, and I'm Rakshita Mishra, bringing you the top national and international stories of the day. The countdown to the tabling of the Waqf Amendment Bill has begun. Tomorrow, it will be tabled in the Lok Sabha, and we will tell you how the numbers stack up for the bill to be passed. News also coming in from Hyderabad that we're tracking, where the protests against Revanth Reddy government are only intensifying. Students continue with their strike, and BJP leaders have also been detained. Self-styled pastor Bajinder Singh has been sentenced to life in the 2018 rape case. Also, we tell you how the leaders from Northeast are taking on Muhammad Yunus of Bangladesh on his provocative statement on the 7 northeastern states. Break up Bangladesh, split Bangladesh is the chorus from Northeast. China has again threatened Taiwan now. It has launched what it calls the closing-in drill surrounding Taiwan. What does it mean? We'll tell you. And finally, SpaceX has launched a historic space flight. We'll tell you details of that and much more. First, we begin with the Waqf showdown. It's a litmus test, viewers, for all the parties. Of course, for the NDA, which is exuding confidence that it will be passed. Now, the bill proposes several changes to laws governing central and state boards, which decide how Muslim charitable properties are administered. And it will be tabled in the Lok Sabha tomorrow at noon. The current parliament session, that is the second half of the budget session, ends on Friday. Kiren Rijiju, who's the Minister for Minority Affairs, says that he wants to allow MPs sufficient time to debate the changes that have triggered a fierce row. So 8 hours is the time allotted from the government on that, viewers. Also, there are the indie bloc parties that still continue to oppose it, and NDA says it's only there's nothing but fear-mongering. But here's how the numbers stack up, viewers. In Lok Sabha tomorrow, 292 NDA, 234 Indie, 7 others. So the majority mark is 272. So we see that the NDA, all the NDA allies, if they come together, and in fact JDU, TDP have come out in the open and said that they are going to lend its support to the bill. So the majority mark will be very comfortably passed by the NDA in the Lok Sabha. Now, day after tomorrow, on Thursday, it will be tabled in the Rajya Sabha, where the majority mark is 117. 117 in Rajya Sabha, that's what the NDA requires. It has 119 seats. So even in the upper house, that is the Rajya Sabha, the NDA has a clear edge. So, and of course, the NDA has issued a whip to all its members that they must be present on Thursday. Now, viewers, let's take a listen to what Kiren Rijiju, the Minority Affairs Minister, has said.
We had a Business Advisory Committee meeting for Lok Sabha. I had proposed before the committee that tomorrow on 2nd April, we are bringing the Waqf Amendment Bill. And for that, we have to allocate time for discussion. And we had proposed that initially, from 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever the committee decides, government is okay. Some political parties are trying to create some excuse so that they can run away from the discussion. That would be unfortunate, because the nation wants to listen the points raised by various political parties.
We believe in unity. We believe in equality for all communities. We believe in not appeasing any community. And we believe that the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024 is in the interest of the Muslims of this country.
लगभग 9 लाख एकड़ वक्फ बोर्ड की ज़मीन, जिस पे बहुत से लोगों ने इलीगल कब्जा भी बना रखा है, अगर संशोधन बिल द्वारा ये ज़मीनों पे कब्जा वापस लेके मुसलमानों के हित में अगर संशोधन बिल आता है, तो निसंदेह हमारी पार्टी उसका समर्थन भी करेगी। हम मुस्लिम समाज के हर हित की रक्षा करेंगे, हर हित के उनके पक्ष में हैं।
So the countdown to the reform bill is on, but the opposition continues to criticize the Waqf Amendment Bill. Listen in to the reactions from the opposition parties.
हम तो बराबर डिबेट में हिस्सा लेंगे, अमेंडमेंट्स भी मूव करेंगे, और हम उसमें पूरा अपनी बात को रखेंगे दलील के साथ, और बताएंगे कि कैसा ये बिल अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है, कैसा ये मुसलमानों के फ्रीडम ऑफ रिलीजन की मुखालिफत करता है, कैसा ये मुसलमानों के चैरिटेबल रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिसेस से उनको महरूम करता है। जो अल्लाह के नाम पे प्रॉपर्टी वक्फ कर दी गई है, उससे अगर आप हमको महरूम कर रहे हैं तो फिर जाहिर है ये तो हमारे लिए बड़ा इमोशनल और बड़ी तकलीफदेह बात रहेगी। तो ये समझ नहीं रहे हैं, ना नीतीश कुमार समझ रहे हैं, ना चंद्रबाबू नायडू समझ रहे हैं, ना चिराग पासवान समझ रहे हैं, ना जयंत चौधरी समझ रहे हैं। तो ठीक है, इनको जनता समझा देगी। फिर
पहले ही कहा था, ये बिल जो है इसको हम जैसे लोगों को तस्लीम करना ज़रा मुश्किल है। इस बिल से ऐसा लगता है कि एक ही मजहब को निशाना बनाया जा रहा है। मैंने बार बार ये कहा है, और उन वक्फ को इस तरह निशाना बनाना ये अफसोस की बात है, क्योंकि ऐसा लगता है कि सिर्फ हमारा ही एक जो खैरात का सिलसिला है उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई की जा रही है। बेहतर होता कि ना ही हो।
बिल लेकर के आ रही है भारतीय जनता पार्टी का इतिहास। जिस तरह के फैसले लिए अगर हम देखें, उससे कहीं ना कहीं जो परिणाम भारतीय जनता पार्टी चाहती थी वो नहीं आए। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का हर फैसला वोट के लिए, अपने लोगों को खुश करने के लिए। ये वक्फ बिल के खिलाफ समाजवादी पार्टी है, पहले भी थी, आगे भी रहेगी। जिस तरह के संशोधन भारतीय जनता पार्टी कर रही है,
Shifting focus to Hyderabad now. Over the past few days, tensions flared in Hyderabad over the run-in between the protesting students and the police. Many students have been detained as well. A significant police presence was noted in the area today as well, following student-led demonstration against the alleged encroachment of land. Now, the protest was in response to the reported auction of the land in the area for the Telangana government to set up an IT park there. It's a 400-acre land parcel at Kancha Gachibowli that borders the UOH, the University of Hyderabad. Section of university students and others opposed the proposal to auction the land, citing environmental concerns. And for more on this, in fact, we have been joined by one of the students who are part of the protest. We have Sakshi, who is joining us. Sakshi is the Hyderabad Central University ABVP Union President joining us. Sakshi, tell us about the demands that are being raised and the police action, because we see a crackdown on the protesting students. And some of the students spoke to us saying that they are not even allowed to speak to the media. Many of them have been detained as well.
Yes, so the thing is, our demand as student is that 400 acres of land, it belongs to University of Hyderabad, and it is being encroached. The area that the police is trying to encroach is not coming under that 400 acres even, but we have been pulled off by the police. The police is trying to hold the girls by hair. The police is trying to hold us through our collars and just throwing us into the police vans like anything. We are not traitors. We are not any bad element that will hurt the university premises, right? So our demand is that let this space be for student, let this space be for academic purpose. So this is the demand that we are keeping up, and for this rights only we are having our fight, and we'll continue till we get justice.
Right, Sakshi, thanks so much for joining us on Republic TV, sharing your views and the demands, of course, being raised by the protesters. We will now shift our focus to Mohali Court, which has awarded life imprisonment to self-styled Punjab pastor Bajinder Singh in 2018 Zirakpur rape case. The court pronounced his conviction last week, and the self-styled pastor was convicted for rape, punishment for voluntarily causing hurt, and criminal intimidation. The case in which Pastor Bajinder has been given dates back to 2018, when a woman from Zirakpur had complained, alleging that Bajinder sexually assaulted her under the pretense of helping her travel abroad. And in fact, we'll tell you more details about this case, because viewers, this is not the only complaint against him. There are multiple women who have come out. You know, Republic TV has spoken to multiple victims who have alleged sexual harassment, assault and mental torture at the hands of this guy who you see on screen. He has been now awarded a life sentence, and we will get you more details of that case. But now we shift our focus to the other stories that we are tracking, viewers. So life term has been sentenced to, the pastor has been sentenced to life term, and it's a life imprisonment sentence unto death for Pastor Bajinder Singh. Victims, of course, welcoming the court's order. And we will try and connect with the victim of the 2018 rape case, because it's a very old case. But throughout the years, there are many women who have come forward and have narrated the ordeal, what they have gone through when they were associated with him, and how he lured people under pretext of helping them financially or helping them go abroad and joining his network. This man's misdeeds are under lens more than ever now, and there has been swift action, if not from the cops, not from the Punjab cops, but from the court, as the FIR was registered just recently. He was also caught on camera assaulting people at his office. A woman right in front of his toddler was also assaulted, attacked by this man who claims to be a pastor, who claims to be a preacher. And of course, we will now get you more inputs on the story. Right now, we shift our focus to Bangladesh viewers. Now, top political voices in the northeast reacted with concern and contempt to Muhammad Yunus's plan to cut the region from the Indian mainland by way of a Chinese takeover and control of the strategic chicken's neck. Now, taking to his social media handle, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has said that the statement by the interim Bangladesh leader seeking extended Chinese maritime influence in the Indian Ocean should not be taken lightly. He has called the statement offensive, and in fact, even the prominent Tripura leader of Tripura Motha, Pradyo Debabarma, has called on the centre to break up Bangladesh, cut off Chittagong. That is what he has said. Here's a report on that, viewers.
Less than 24 hours after Muhammad Yunus outlined his devious plan to ring-fence India with Chinese help, top political leaders in the northeast responded with concern, while also coming out with fiery responses. Making a desperate pitch to China to loosen its purse strings for a cash-strapped Dhaka, Yunus urged the dragon to ramp up investments to Bangladesh and exert more control on the Indian Ocean. Invoking the landlocked 7 northeast states, Yunus openly advocated for Beijing to use the strategic chicken's neck as a leverage tool against Delhi.
7 states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean for all this region. So this opens up a huge possibility. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy, build things, produce things, market things, bring things to China, bring it out to the whole rest of the world.
Responding to Yunus's statement in his social media post, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma said the former's words only reinforced the vulnerabilities of the chicken's neck. A thin strip of land around Bengal's Shiliguri, the chicken's neck serves as a strategic gateway connecting the northeast states, also known as the Seven Sisters, to the Indian mainland. Himanta urged the centre to boost public infrastructure, especially building road and railway networks, underneath and around the chicken's neck to secure India's territorial integrity and strategic interests. In a fierce counterpunch, prominent Tripura leader Pradyo Debabarma demanded that India cut all aid to Bangladesh. Loading off against Yunus in a social media post, the Tripura Motha chief called on the centre to take a more aggressive military stance against Dhaka. He called on India to break up Bangladesh and assert full control over the waters, claiming that many indigenous communities in the neighbouring country have long been yearning to integrate with India. Meanwhile, in an emphatic snub to Yunus and his sales pitch in Beijing, China released a statement today batting for a tango between the dragon and the elephant. As Northeast leaders call for an assertive response against Yunus, is the centre listening?
And we have strategic affairs expert Mr. Bajinder Singh joining us on the broadcast. Sir, well, we just heard what Yunus said yesterday, and now we have a huge backlash from the northeastern states, ministers and leaders like Himanta Biswa Sarma. We also have Tripura Motha chief taking on Bangladesh, saying that in fact Bangladesh should be split, that the Chittagong port should be, cut off. And it was a huge mistake that in 1947 India let go of the port. So how do you react to that?
Thank you so much. No, certainly, without doubt, this statement by Yunus is a very dangerous statement. He is implying several things. One, he's saying that India's northeast is landlocked, and thereby, definitely is conveying I mean, the world knows, China also knows, but kind of saying or alluding to the chicken's neck that India has a very narrow strip with which to connect the rest of the Northeast. That's one. Second, he's inviting China to come to Bangladesh and saying that we are the ocean entry point for you, for this region. And we are the only player in this region. I mean, surprising. I mean, India is very much there, but Bangladesh is positioning itself that we are the ones, with the Indian Ocean access to these places. So it's an extremely dangerous and worrying statement from Yunus, absolutely uncalled for. And I think definitely, yes, India will react. Now, we can't say, I mean, the official, that is, the MEA will react. But yes, one could be, I mean, that means nothing much, but yeah, sure, calling the Bangladesh ambassador to the foreign minister's office and giving him a dressing down, that could be, or maybe it has already happened. But what would be important is to figure out a longer term strategy. See, in any case, I mean, even if we have the chicken's neck or whatever, that small corridor, nobody is taking it away from us and nobody can. Right. But what Bangladesh does by alluding and inviting China in this corner of the world, it is creating the possibility, seeding the possibility, promoting the possibility of creating mischief in our Northeast. That is the most worrying thing. I mean, it's not that, some fine day, okay, sure, that is China's intent to some fine day, sever the chicken's neck from with respect to India and isolate the Seven Sisters, but that is not happening. Okay, so in the absence of that, what Mohammad Yunus's statement does is that it still very much, creates opportunity for mischief between Bangladesh and across the border insurgencies in India, and giving them, giving them safeguards. So that is the worry, and that's a huge worry. And if China looks at Bangladesh as what Yunus is saying, that you can trade in all these markets via Bangladesh, well, in that case, of course, I mean, we can shut down our borders in the Northeast with respect to trade from Bangladesh. Okay, so I mean, these are piecemeal steps that can be taken, but it's an extremely worrying and an absolutely condemnable thing that he said.
Robin Sachdeva, thank you so much for joining us on Republic TV with your views on the story. Viewers, we shift our focus now to another provocation now that is coming in. Now, this time is from China to Taiwan. Not the first time, of course. China now has launched, again, some large-scale military drills around Taiwan, accusing its leaders of being separatists and parasites who are pushing the democratically run island into war. Now, the drills, accompanied by a propaganda campaign, were launched without warning Tuesday morning. China's People's Liberation Army says that there was a stern warning to Taiwan's democratically elected government over what Beijing claims is a separatist activity. So, in fact, China has encircled Taiwan with its jets, with its warships, and we have, in fact, a special guest joining us on the same. We have Einar Tangen, who is a political analyst live from Beijing. Mr. Tangen, thank you so much for joining us on Republic TV. Well, we see China has surrounded Taiwan in this military drill that is called Closing In, and it has also called the president a parasite and has issued a warning again. If you could shed more light on that.
Okay, so I think we have to step back a little bit and just kind of look at about 6 days ago when Li came out and he called Beijing a, quote, foreign hostile force. This has a very specific meaning. It's a phrase from the 2020 Anti-Infiltration Act. The phrase, according to the wording of the act, applies to, quote, countries, political entities, or groups that are at war or engaged in a military standoff with the Republic of China, which is Taiwan, or advocate the use of non-peaceful means for their own purposes. So that started things off. It seems that Li is gambling. There's a lot of uncertainty about what's going on with Donald Trump And especially because he's attacked Taiwan for, quote, stealing the chip industry from the United States. And he's also complained that Taiwan needs to spend at least 10% of their GDP on, not GDP, of their budget, government budget, on defense. So at this point, it's very, very difficult to see what Lee is gambling with. If he's thinking that somehow Donald Trump will feel sorry for Taiwan or use it as some sort of proxy in a conflict with China, this is what China is responding to. They're basically making it clear that they can surround and take Taiwan if there is any move to make Taiwan independent or to start a military action.
Right. It's also, testing US's resolve, because we saw that how US and Japan had been coming together, and that too has somewhere threatened Beijing, sir?
I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. Could you repeat the question?
No, I'm saying that you mentioned about America, you mentioned about Donald Trump, but the US also held, tried to boost ties with Japan to deter the Chinese. You feel that this is in response to that as well?
Yes, this is all part of a containment strategy that began basically with Donald Trump, was continued on by Biden, and Trump is going after it again. You'll note that he's trying to deal with Russia over Ukraine, which would free up American forces and resources to concentrate on Asia. There was a feeling on the campaign trail, he made it very clear that his desire was to split Russia and China. And more lately, it seems he wants to make some sort of grand bargain where he would create spheres of influence. It's not, I don't think that it'll actually work, but he's somebody who likes to have a number of different options. He's not ideological, but he is concerned that China is a peer competitor, therefore a threat to U.S. hegemony.
Right. Right. So you feel that this is only a military drill. Of course, this is a message that is being sent out very strongly by Beijing. But because there have been a lot of speculations as to what plans do the Chinese have in future now with regard to Taiwan. So if you could, shed some light on that.
Is your question about military options that
Yes.
China would have?
Strategic military options, yes, whatever is on the table.
Well, yes, China is, they made it very clear, I think they understand that if they were to use armed force without provocation to take Taiwan, that this would be a public relations disaster. All the things that the U.S. has always said about China, people would say, okay, well, maybe it's true. Right now, China doesn't have to do much. Donald Trump is manufacturing a charm offensive for China because he's simply being so unreliable and difficult, putting tariffs on everybody. And threatening to take different countries. In terms of China, yes, they could overwhelm Taiwan very easily. There's only a week's worth of fresh food if there is, in fact, a blockade. They'd run out of fresh food in 1 week. They'd run out of energy in less than that. It would literally be reduced to a starving population without energy in order to sustain itself. So it's not really an option that Beijing wants to push. These are, in fact, Chinese. So they're not looking to punish anybody. This is something where they want a peaceful reunification.
Right. Right, Mr. Tangen, thank you so much for joining us with your thoughts and your views on this story. We shift our focus now to our final story. SpaceX has successfully launched its first ever human space flight to explore the Earth's polar regions. Now, the new mission comes just 14 days after the return of NASA's SpaceX Crew 9 astronauts, including Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore, who spent an unexpected 9 months in space. This mission has been named in honor of the ship Fram that helped explorers first reach Earth's Arctic and Antarctic regions in the late 1800s. SpaceX says that the astronauts are carrying a small piece of that ship with them to orbit. Here's all that you need to know.
SpaceX has made history with its latest human spaceflight, the Frame 2 mission. The groundbreaking venture marks the first time a crewed spacecraft has been launched into a polar orbit around the Earth. The mission started earlier today when a Falcon 9 rocket carrying the Crew Dragon capsule Resilience lifted off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Copy 1 Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
The 4-member crew will spend 3 to 5 days circling Earth's most remote locations. The captivating cold desert landscape of the antipodal region of the Earth has fascinated netizens. In the 3.5 days, the Dragon will also observe and explore the impact of the spaceflight on the health of humans.
And that's all we could pack in this edition of 6 Stories at 6. Live and breaking continues on the other side at 6:30. Don't go anywhere.